fuck is the phone? Hello? Hello? Hey, tell me why I'm in here. Look at me. No.
Get that heart rate. The body of Donna Hawthorne was discovered. The prime suspect, Joseph Doucette, the victim's former husband and father of the surviving child.
You'll never leave me.
Your father's been missing for 20 years. If I could somehow bring him here, do you think you could forgive him?
I could try.
What happened to him?
He showed up last night.
I need your help, Chucky.
I haven't seen the guy in like 20 years.
Who are you?
If you were trying to find your daughter and clear your name, I could help you.
If you would like to see your daughter alive again, answer 2 questions. 1, why did I imprison you for 20 years? And 2, why did I let you go? I don't want you to go.
You don't have a choice. And whoever you are, I will find you.
I only run this place, all right?
Shit, you might want to think about what you're doing here.
I've been thinking about it for the last 20 years.
Hello again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Chop-Socky Cinema, as you can see. Nice way to stay hydrated with a nice big dose of water in your diet. I'm Josh.
I'm William.
And today we're doing once again, our once a month tradition, our East Meets West feature for the end of our Hooray for Vengeance Month, which is Oldboy, a Spike Lee joint. I know, that sounds weird.
Seems weird.
It seems weird, but
very weird.
I mean, but hey, yeah, apparently they tapped Spike Lee to do an American remake of a Korean like mystery thriller.
He doesn't do too bad, actually.
And yeah, well, like I would say the result is mixed. I mean, there's
Definitely mixed.
It's not as simple. It's worse than the original material, or it's better. There are elements that are worse and elements that are better.
He actually adds more to. He seems to add more to it so that you actually kind of get a feel for what happens instead of just throwing you into a drunken night with Daesu.
And actually, that's the thing is actually Josh Brolin's character, Joe Doucette, which is kind of an Anglicization of Daesu. His name's Joe Doucette. Of course, we refer to him as something else. We refer to him as Hank Daesu.
He will forever be Hank, as he was dubbed in the first time we watched Oldboy.
Yeah, Hank Daesu.
Hank Daesu.
But I mean, the thing is, you actually see more of the main characters like drunken night on the town.
And what actually led up to that drunken night as well.
I mean, it actually shows that he's an advertising executive, and he was selling a car account to the very wonderful Lance Reddick. Always nice to see him in a movie, and his wife. And basically, just to example of this guy, Joe's a douche. I mean, he's inappropriate. He says inappropriate things and disrespectful things to people. And I mean, right off the bat, he makes a very powerful man his enemy within like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
He's already under like extreme pressure to actually close the account with said powerful man. So, and that pretty much, and long story short, he ends up losing the account, leads to the drunken night, which I like that a lot better. Ooh, there's an Easter egg within the first 10 minutes of the movie too?
Yeah.
If you watch the original.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually, without going, but if you watch the original, there's an Easter egg to the original movie.
There's like a couple of them actually.
Yeah, and then one thing is that the present he gets for his little girl for her 3rd birthday is different.
Yep. But the woman who sells him the Easter egg is actually wearing
the original present in
the original present,
and she's even doing the little.
She actually does
the shrug like he does when he puts them on, and like Mito does when she puts them on.
The second Easter egg that I found is the octopus in the first restaurant.
Yeah.
Because
in the original one, I want to eat something alive, and then when he walks into a Chinese restaurant, he peers like studiously at an octopus in a fish tank. But differences in the characters is that Joe seems to be a little. He seems to be a little more proactive than Odesu was. Well, not also, I think a little more intuitive.
In the original, Odesu only goes by taste. He doesn't really know too much, but he knew it was a specific kind of dumpling, and he ends up going all over town. Whereas Joe in this one
actually got like the wrapper from like the torn end of a receipt from where he got the word dragon.
Actually, if you think about it. The gentleman, the main bad guy in this one, could have been trying to leaving clues so it didn't take him as long to find it.
Because that's the one thing is it seems like again the difference in the main bad guy is that where it seems like before he was very much
calculating.
He was also less overt where he's like. I'll be there and I'll taunt him, but I'll go out of my way to avoid him as long as possible. Or in this one, the bad guy just shows up.
Yeah.
Like, he just says, we need to meet.
And the way they redid the first actual meeting too, where he helps him into the car after, he leaves the hotel. I liked it better in the original Oldboy than I did in this one. It's just where he goes, the fun's just beginning, where it was more like a subtle, oh my God, this guy needs help. Hey,
because in the original, it just seems like the guy's just a random good Samaritan, and then when he puts him in the car, he says, see you soon, Odesu. And this one and
then he realizes it.
And this one, the bad guy actually is waiting for him outside and picks him up and tells him, the fun's just beginning, and puts him in the car. Just kidding. This is another thing is that I kind of prefer the performance of the bad guy in the original one.
I do.
The thing is, Sharlto Copley plays the bad guy in this one. Normally, Sharlto is a fantastic. Just something about his performance here just seems kind of cartoonish.
Just a bit.
A little bit like a supervillain, and just the accent's a little hokey. It seems that to me that's actually he's one of the weakest parts about this remake. He didn't do a bad job. It's just
up to a certain point. I didn't mind him being the villain. And then suddenly it got to that point where it's this seems kind of, and you pointed it out to me, it does seem to get kind of cartoonish, because you had seen it and I hadn't.
Yeah.
And I was just he doesn't seem that way. And then it got to one specific part when it's the big reveal. I was like, okay, yes, now we'll go with the kind of over the top super villainy kind of thing.
Even to the point where Josh Brolin's like, no, with his knee,
and even he stands there like this over Josh Brolin's character.
I have to say, I think that Joe's reaction is more just the hard just as opposed to Odesu where
where he's literally just going insane just to not have her find out. And I was just I like Odesu.
Now and then
not Hank Desu, Odesu.
Yeah, and then other things I liked about this one was the casting for this was
actually really
overall good. Really good. Actually, the guy that plays his buddy in this one, Chucky, is played by an actor named Michael Imperioli. Which if you ever watched The Sopranos, he's Christopher Moltisanti. He's been in movies like Bad Boys. He's actually on a really good Amazon original series called Rabid Dogs that if you have Amazon Prime, you should check it out. It's really good. It's kind of like the most darkest version of Weekend at Bernie's that you can imagine.
I may have to check that
Set
out.
in Belize.
Cheap
plug for Amazon Prime Video. Anyways, moving on. But he actually has a more active role in the movie. He legitimately... he helps him out more in the beginning, where before Mito was the one that kind of did that.
And another thing I like is they actually, instead of they're just tracking down of all the guys and you find out they're either dead or they're living separate lives, you actually get to see him try and find these people. it's kind of sad, like his old boss.
Oh, I know. Like, we saw where his old boss obviously has like severe dementia, and you get the impression that even though Joe Doucette was an awful douche of a man, he respected his boss.
Oh yeah,
like very much so. He wanted his approval, and he said, "Sorry, boss." And then again, he saw another guy at a retirement, like at a birthday party. He's like, "That's not him. Why? He's happy." Yeah. He actually said, "The person I talked to's never been happy a day in his life." That note. Also, another difference in this one is they actually show the bad guys in the act of getting his DNA while he's unconscious to frame him.
They do it in the original, but they don't go to the extent of showing them put it on like the crowbar and like all the stuff that would be implicated. It doesn't show any of that part. It just shows the collection of DNA, and you're just like, okay, that just seems kind of odd, but all right.
It also seems like that that Price, the bad guy,
Copley's
character, it seems like he just lays on way too much incentive for him to find him, where he's like, "I'll give you a tape showing me raping and murdering your wife, and I'll give you this, and I'll give you $10 million in cut diamonds.
I'll also give you this, and some of these, and some more of this.
And a brand new car." Where in the original with the bad guy's like, "No, you get a chance to kill me."
Yeah, you get a chance to kill me.
He didn't offer
maybe clear your name.
He didn't offer millions of dollars.
He offered 2 things. Kill him, clear his name, that's it, that's all you get. Oh, 3 things, and I won't kill your daughter.
Yeah. Just another difference is I like the hench person in the original one better, Mr. Han.
Yeah, I like Mr. Han a lot better. Did she even have
They never gave her a name. She was just very like badass, like vaguely oriental bodyguard.
And I thought she was the hypnotist, to be honest.
That's actually the hypnotist. She wasn't actually. Yeah, she was the one with the umbrella. Yeah. She was the initial hypnotist. So they kind of combined characters with her, even though the hypnotist has a bigger role at the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
Even though I kind of, like I said, and as far as the endings, the big reveal at the end of the first movie is more believable,
and it's a little bit more character-wise relatable between why he kind of goes after him.
Yeah, and this one, it's like when you find the reveal for this one, it still hits upon the same theme of it, the incest theme, but it's a lot different. It is almost like why he did this to Joe. It's literal. It's a very literal connection.
Very literal connection.
Painfully literal connection, as opposed to the other one, which was more revenge for. It was more. He felt revenge for being wronged, and in this one, it was that. Again, it was more that he was just as much a victim as his sister. It just was really awkwardly handled, in my opinion, in this one.
I'll agree. Another thing I was thinking about was I hate it when I figure out a twist within like the first 10 minutes of the movie. And it not literal 10 minutes of the movie, but like within like the first part of the movie. Because the part of the big reveal at the end where I was just like, I kind of called that, because it was that whole thing of who his daughter was and became in the original was like a mystery. And then you find out and it's like, oh, and it kind of hits you a lot. It hits you a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
If you never saw the original, however, this would probably make a good bit of sense. And it would probably hit you in the same way, but maybe not as hard as the original. But when the whole reveal about who his daughter is, that kind of didn't hit me the same way it did in the original.
And speaking of the daughter character, like Elizabeth Olsen does a really good job. And I think that, again, that one is a little heavy-handed where, I mean, she is... And also this one, I don't think she was hypnotized in this one. Because it was a more natural, like, almost conditioning where... where the Copley's character intentionally placed her with a foster family that would make her more attracted to someone like Joe, as opposed to before where she just got like hypnotized. And
where she was like
for conditioned responses. There wasn't any of that in this one. Oh, and actually, no, I don't think she was. Actually, I guess she wasn't a hypnotist because she didn't hypnotize him.
That's true. Because there's that whole scene. She was just the bodyguard. She was just. I guess she was a female version of Mr. Han for this one.
Yeah.
And that fight scene between him and Han in the original was actually really good. As a matter of fact,
it's very
the opening fight scene from when Josh Brolin gets out of the suitcase and goes running onto like a lacrosse field. Yeah, apparently that lacrosse team has seen better days.
Yeah, no,
and much weaker opponents.
He wrecks these guys. I mean, like Prison Riot wrecks these guys, and then let's see other stuff. Forgetting big upgrade in the manager of the hostage hotel in this.
Oh yes, definitely.
Samuel L. Jackson plays the manager of the hotel in this, and I mean he is
wonderful job.
He's like more menacing, more physically menacing. I mean, and then of course it's so there's more than a few MFers dropped in this movie.
Yep, definitely, and he's a little bit more over the top than the original manager.
Oh,
but in like a good way.
Oh yeah, in a good way. And the great thing I like about this is because Samuel Jackson establishes that this guy, even though he's a thug and a just big word, he's a professional. Because when he's on the phone with the bad guy, he's very respectful. And he says, "Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for acknowledging my sacrifice." And he says, and he actually he says, "There has never been a guest that has revealed this place to the outside world when he's released."
Yep.
And he kind of takes pride in that. And then of course he's like, "Feed the pets." But anyways, we've been going kind of back and forth about the comparisons. Really, one thing is the very endings. I actually give the up to the remake for the very end. It's happier.
It makes a bit more.
It actually makes
a bit more sense.
It shows more of a complete evolution of the main character.
Yeah.
Where they actually say that, like in this one, they constantly say that Joe, before he got captured and kidnapped, was that he only thought about himself. And at the beginning, where he's just like, "So what? She's 3. She isn't gonna care if I'm there or not. I gotta do that." And then in that one, he intentionally buys a prison for himself. Yep. And he basically even though he knows at this point, he knows about what's happened with his daughter, but he intentionally sends her away so she can be happy. And he's content basically just to live as a prisoner for the rest of his days, which shows a lot of, instead of being someone who was very selfish, someone who's being very self-sacrificing for someone that he loved.
Oh yeah, definitely. I completely agree. I agree with that, and I honestly, I actually like this ending a bit better. There were some parts leading up to the ending that were just like, okay, I'm thinking the original did it better.
Oh, yeah, but anyway, okay, so just final thoughts. I would say that even though there's a lot similar with the source material, I think Lee actually added enough to where he made it his own.
Oh yeah, definitely.
A good bit. I would still say that the original is the better movie as a whole, but there's lots of stuff about this new one that I liked.
Yeah, you like both. I do like both. There are things that I would like to interchange with the original and this version of it. Like the ending is one of them. It seemed to me like kind of make a little bit more sense that you say like one final goodbye and just disappear forever once you discover that horrible thing. I did not like Price as the villain in certain parts. When it didn't really reveal who he was, his accent was over the top and everything, but.
And I think that the whole like thing where the bad guy kills the best friend.
Yeah. Was
better in the original Korean movie.
Yes, it was. And it seemed like.
Because before, where this one, they took kind of shortcuts with it, where it's just that, of course the bad guy cloned his phone.
Yeah. And knows everything that's going on.
Yeah, but I liked it better where they were in the same room together and they didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Until he heard him call his sister a whore, and he's like, "Rrr!"
And just like rages on him. Yeah.
Well, that when you shank a dude with a broken CD-ROM.
Yeah, that's some true unadulterated rage right there.
Yep.
Just going to go ahead and say
all right.
that.
Anyways, guys, thanks for this is the end of our Hooray for Vengeance month. It's been a long, painful, soul-scarring road, but we made it through. Anyways,
mental scars build character.
And anyways, next month we're moving, back to Kung Fu movies. Because starting next month will be the beginning of our Wu-Tang month, where we do Kung Fu movies that have all been sampled in Wu-Tang songs. So next week we're going to start off Wu-Tang month with 36 Chamber of Shaolin. And then we're gonna end that particular month with our East Meets West, and we're gonna do Jim Jarmusch's Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai. Just because
one of my favorite ones, by the way.
Oh no, mine too. I love it. But this, and anyways, I hope you tune in for that. Thanks for tuning in and braving this with us. And if you have the emotional fortitude to work through the entire Vengeance trilogy, this is kind of like a nice, almost like crappy tasting after dinner mint. Where it's like, it's not so horrible as the other three movies. My soul does not feel like it got crapped on as bad as the other three movies.
Still feels dirty. Just
it's
not
still
as
dirty. You're just like, you're a little desensitized at this point, though. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Josh.
Well,
and we will catch you at the Chop-Socky House.